Hey guys, me Sam Stein. I am back. Luckily, I'm joined by Alex Ward of the Wall Street Journal. Used to be my bud at Politico. He is what's your formal title? You're a national security reporter, or you got something else?
Nope, national security reporter, the Wall Street
Okay.
Journal. That's me.
They didn't give you like a senior or like a executive national security reporter. You just got plain old national security reporter.
Grand mullah of national security.
That's more like it. Okay,
Yeah.
we're having fun, but we're going to talk about something serious. We're going to try to unpack what's happening at USAID. First of all, is it still, as far as you know, is it still in existence? Does it exist?
Yes, actually, moments before we hopped on, Secretary of State Marco Rubio sent a letter to Congress.
Yes, I saw that.
You saw this, okay?
Yeah.
In which he basically says, like, "Hey, Congress, it'd be totally cool to work with you on this.
Yeah.
State and pertinent entities, Doge, will be working with you." But like the fact that basically Rubio is saying we're going to work with you lawmakers on this, which is what is in the federal statute, feels like a walk back for sure, and arguably a loss for Musk in this case to take over USAID.
I am waiting for some additional reporting on what transpired, but and maybe you'll have it by tomorrow. But let's set the table a little bit before we get into it. So we know it is still in existence. Basically, and tell me if I'm wrong, or tell me where I'm wrong in my chronology here. A couple days ago, last week or so, it became apparent that USAID, which is the federal agency tasked with humanitarian assistance and the promotion of U.S. foreign policy abroad, was in the crosshairs of Doge. Elon Musk was tweeting out a series of attacks on the agency, and then it became apparent that members of Doge were actually accessing information within the agency. Over the weekend, Elon Musk continued by calling the agency corrupt, suggesting that it was a deep state plot for Democrats to go after their enemies, suggesting that they've been involved in spreading COVID, or at least funding the research that caused COVID, attacking people who defended it. And all the while, it was unclear if USAID personnel were even allowed to operate. And then this morning, we wake up and the website's down for USAID, and people who work in the DC office can no longer access, or were told not to even come into the office. The people I've been talking to in the know say this is insane, like totally insane. People are freaking out. They don't know if they have actually a future at the agency. And even with Marco Rubio's clarification, it's unclear. So that's where we're at. Did I miss anything?
No, that's about it. That's about it. The only thing, you don't need me anymore. The only thing I'd say is that, yes, the people I've been talking to as of this morning had email access. Now they don't. It's still unclear how deep in the USAID systems Doge is, or what the actual structure of the organization is, right? Rubio says he's the acting administrator. It's unclear. Trump actually has the authority to give him that title. So there's a lot of stuff that's still out there. But let's
start. Basic stuff. Alex, what does USAID do? What does it do?
So USAID is the foreign assistance arm of the U.S. government. So important to know, 1961, John F. Kennedy creates this. It's part of the big act. There's an executive order. And the main thing was that this will make it a lot easier for the U.S. to dole out foreign aid to the rest of the world.
And why shepherd it into one agency as opposed to it being diffuse, which it was beforehand?
So part of it is to connect it more to the State Department, right? The State Department is the one in charge of America's foreign policy, so therefore there's some connection there. The other part of it really is that if we get boiled down to it, USAID is a contracting agency. Their job is to provide contracts to aid organizations, faith-based organizations, other organizations, to then go do their work. They go do good work, they might get U.S. government money for it.
And why don't we just do it ourselves?
What do you mean ourselves?
One of the critique is, why are we contracting out to NGOs? Like, if it's important enough, the U.S. government should do it ourselves.
Well, part of it is there's the existing infrastructure. In theory, it could be cheaper, right? Because you can just give out temporary contracts, opposed to having forever staff. And then the other part is that some people, they have expertise that the U.S. government doesn't. So in a sense, it's more efficient to give it to these organizations that are already working in the areas anyway, have the existing relationships. Like, you're saving money in terms of time and efficiency by giving it to these kinds of organizations. And they have the contracting expertise anyway. And contracting is actually a really hard art in and of itself.
Okay. And what are the main buckets of things that they do?
All kinds of things. They're tracking pandemics. They are providing medical services, vaccinations, maternity care. They are providing economic assistance to countries or cities in need. They are supporting, let's say, democracy, freedom fighters, if you want to give them that, around the world. Not necessarily like combating, but like pro-democracy activists in
Oh,
China.
you could say freedom fighters. This is the Bulwark. Okay, you too.
No, but like, like literally there are programs where, the U.S. supports pro-democracy movements in China, or even in like, say, the war in Ukraine, providing firewood to the troops there so they can stay warm when they're on the front line. So like, it's a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. What's the main, prior to this past week, what has been the main critique of USAID?
That it is inefficient. It doesn't use America's money in the best possible way. And in fact, that it should be more aligned with whatever administration's foreign policy is. There's actually fairly good arguments for it to be folded into the State Department, right, which is what, and in fact, two countries off the top of my head have done something similar, Australia and the UK. So it's not like it's a wholly out of left field idea. In fact, Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, kind of brought USAID further into the state fold. The question here is, why does this administration want to do it, and why are they doing it in this weird, seemingly illegal fashion?
So why do they want? What is the deal here? Like, why is this on Elon Musk's radar so much? He's obviously been tasked with cutting the government down in size, but USAID, if I'm wrong, correct me, has 0.7% of the budget is devoted to USAID, right? Like, it's not roughly, the biggest. Yeah, it's not the biggest line of the budget. And it's not nothing, but it's not the biggest line of the budget. So why is it so centralized for Elon's focus here?
A couple of things, and they're
First of all, I'm glad you got your glasses clean for this point. It's very important.
I couldn't see you as clearly as I wanted to. And I only want clear sand in my vision.
Yes.
2020 sand. Okay. So,
all right, get on with it. Come on.
No, fine. All right. There's many reasons, and actually probably too long to get into, but I will very much shorten it to, there are allies on X that are saying, look at all this stuff that USAID is wasting. Isn't that a bad idea?
Yeah.
Someone got it in Trump's head that we spent $50 million on condoms in Gaza, even though it turns out to be
some account like libtards suck 3824 says, look at this line item, and Elon's like, ah.
Well, also, there's a gentleman whose name escapes me, but he is using the same talking points that like RT is using, which is Russia Today, and that's sort of, and Trump has quote tweeted that guy. And now you've got Medvedev, Dmitry Medvedev, who used to be the former president of Russia, saying it's great that USAID is dying, etc. So there's all that. And then also, I think, and this is and I don't have a report, it's just the guess, is that if you're Elon Musk and you're trying to cut even bigger line items from the U.S. budget, you might as well start small and see how the playbook goes.
Right. So, my theory is this is the lowest hanging political fruit, right? Like, not many people really care, let's be honest, about foreign aid. In fact, probably think it's 25% of the budget or something when it's really not.
It's 1%.
They wonder, well, why spend 30 billion on all this stuff around the world when that can be spent on people domestically? And they think it's an either or. And so that's easy.
Sure, it's easy, and like it's also, I mean, when Musk says like, it's full of radical left-leaning people, well, like, no, but it's a mostly left-leaning organization, right? Who is attracted to doing human aid and development type work? It tends to be left-leaning folks, which doesn't make it any less of a important project. I mean, it's apolitical folks working on behalf of any administration, and there's like an actual need, they would argue. They would say that if you show America's goodwill and you provide and you make places more stable rather than unstable, then actually you can spend less on like the Defense Department or the military. But these are like these kinds of arguments. Yeah.
So what authority, and then the obvious question is, what authority does Elon Musk even have here to go in and say, you know what, I want to see the books?
So two things. On one end, Trump did give him the EO, the executive order, create Doge. You can go ahead and do this. So there is that presidential stamp of approval.
Sure.
But on the USAID side, it's clearly illegal. I mean, it is USAID's in existence as an independent organization.
What's illegal? Be specific. Be specific about what's illegal.
Yes, sorry, fair enough. USAID's existence as an independent organization is codified in federal statute, and if you wanted to reorganize it in any way, in any major way, including folding it into state or dissolving certain offices or whatnot, that requires acts of Congress.
Okay.
And we know this because after the executive order of 1961, it was codified in a law in 1998 and then reaffirmed even last year in 2024. So for Musk to do whatever, and like there are real genuine reasons to do reform and move offices or whatnot, but all of that needs to be decided through Congress.
So that raises the question: why was it shut down today? I mean, in theory, I guess it's still operating, but it's not. They can't get in. Emails are not working. Website's down. Why? How is it shut down?
So this is kind of the main question. Why can't contractors get into their portals? Why can't people get into emails? It feels like Musk is on the page of, I am shutting it down completely. In fact, on X, he keeps saying that the organization was, right, not is. Whereas you have Musk in an official letter to Congress saying, hey, this thing exists. We're just going to work
Rubio.
to reorganize
Rubio in an official
sorry.
letter. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I got you. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So
like, one person treating it as the
pages.
past, the other person as it exists in the present.
Yeah.
But again, I guess the other way to look at it is, okay, so it's been in theory shut down or paused temporarily, depending on how you view it. What do we know is being done to effectuate its reopening by its defenders?
So really the only thing Democrats have at this point is to have senators put holds on Trump nominees, which we have two senators saying they're going to do that. That's Brian Schatz of Hawaii, who was the first to come out of the gate, and hours later, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland said he'd do the same.
I appreciated Van Hollen jumping in, but once you got one, you don't need the other.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Chris, go find something else to do. There's other nominees to worry about. But go ahead. Yeah.
But that's one thing they could do. And then you've got House members saying, we can try to block a lot of big bills that Republicans really want or Trump really wants, including this big tax and agenda bill that they're working on. But other than that, really, there's not much they can do. They're in the minority.
What about lawsuits, though? What about lawsuits, right? Like people who work for USAID, they feel like it feels like they have a case to make that they've been harmed by this pause. And if you say correctly that the law is very clear that they can't just unilaterally shut down this agency, where are the lawsuits, or are there lawsuits?
So those are supposed to be coming. In fact, Van Hollen told me today he was working with the group Democracy Forward to eventually put something out, perhaps in the federal, DC federal court. But the question, though, I mean, I'm not a legal mind, but the question is, who is the defendant? Is it Musk? Is it the Trump administration? Maybe. I mean, I'm again not a legal mind, but
right.
Who? And then who do you say stop doing what? Stop blocking the emails. Stop blocking the doors. It's like what? So who you're telling who to do what? I don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough. I will say that you can file more than one lawsuit.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not a legal mind, man. I'm not a legal mind. But
it's crazy that we're in a weird position where we don't know who is responsible for anything.
No, so even this administration can't agree whether this agency is open or not, or whether it exists. That's
all right.
Even though I stood outside it today.
I know. I saw that, and they didn't. If correct me if I'm wrong, they went into the agency to get in, and then a security guy's just like, no, you can't come in. And these are senators and congressmen being like, okay, I guess.
It was an embarrassing scene. I will just say, okay, so they gave an hour's worth of speeches outside, and then it ends with Chris Van Hollen going we're going in, and we're going to see what's going on. And then they go in, and first of all, security guards are like, please single file line, please go whatever. And then there were guys outside being like, hey, we can't let you in. They go, can we speak to a supervisor? They go back in, they lock all the doors. 12 minutes later, so they're just sitting there. We're all trying to talk to them, but they don't want to talk. I'm charging my phone. I call my editor. I have enough time to call my editor. Then the guy comes out and goes, hey, from the office of the administrator, we can't let you in. Now, we don't know who the administrator is.
Who the administrator is?
We don't know who the administrator is.
It could be one of these. It could be one of these 21-year-old Musk proteges who sent the email this morning. By the way, I just want to be clear. The email that came to USA this morning was from, I believe, someone who was in college as of 2020. I think he's 24 years old. He's one of these 6 Musk proteges who's been entrusted to basically figure out every payment that the government is making and which ones they want to cancel. And it's no one knows who this kid is. Nothing against 24-year-olds, but it's just a little bit wild that they're just shutting down agencies, and that's the point of contact.
I mean, we haven't even gotten to the point where they effectively burst into USAID over this past weekend.
Tell us. Let's tell us about that quickly. Set the scene.
I think this is how we get to this email. So this past Friday, before the weekend, but it was Saturday. They go in, they go, hey, can we get in? Can we get in? We want to like see classified areas. And the security guard's like, no, some of you don't even have the right security clearances. Then the Doge folks threatened them with marshals. The USAID security guards got put on administrative leave. And then they got access to classified systems and classified areas of USAID, Office of the Administrator, et cetera. And so anyway, this guy presumably got access because like he was not a USAID employee, but he sends it from a USAID account. Right. And now if you go press@usaid.gov, which is where the media goes to ask questions, it just goes to that guy.
Imagine being like 24 and just be like, all right, I'm running USAID. But also it's so freaking crazy. And clearly, like, I mean, I guess my question on that is there going to be retroactive accountability for what happened this weekend? Because to me, it seems pretty. I mean, I know the White House has been saying no one got access to any classified information unless they got proper security clearances. But like, will we ever know who actually got access to what? And will we have accountability? Maybe in 2 years when if Democrats take over the House. But boy, that for people who cared about, Hillary Clinton's emails, right? Like, and stuff like that, that seems highly reckless.
Sure. I mean, like, you can imagine it's 2 years. I mean, we can send FOIAs and they'll come back 6 years from now.
I'm sure the Trump administration is going to be right on our FOIA.
Yeah. I mean, we'll file them but this is the thing is that right now what you have is the president's best friend, right? Our world's richest man has decided he doesn't like this certain government agency and that he's effectively going to dismantle it in a way that is against the law.
But you read the Rubio thing and then we can close up here, but you read the Rubio thing as a defeat for Musk.
That might be too strong. I know that was my initial thought, but I think now rereading it, it's definitely a step back.
Right. It acknowledges the existence of USAID. So
the existence of USAID. Yeah, it exists, and we will work with Congress. The part that is not a win, I had to read, is like there's a section there that goes the State Department and pertinent entities. So that's Doge, presumably, in which case they will still be part of the process. But now it seems like we're going to have this moment where Musk says, like, Trump told me to shut it down and agrees that we should shut it down. And then Trump going, Elon doesn't do anything without talking to me. Now you have Rubio basically saying this thing still exists and we will work with you, Congress. Now that
Rubio also is, and he's claimed active administration over it. So it's like at some point, I guess he is in charge, and Congress could back channel to him or talk to him. And I know we just was just watching a Senate a press conference, Senate Democrat press conference where Brian Schatz was basically like, look, I'm talking to Rubio. I mean, he's been overseas. It's hard to get in touch with him, but I am talking to him about this. And so there is some optimism, if you want to call it that, that USAID could survive, but it will be highly reformed and likely in the State Department, right?
It could be. I mean, look, the lawmakers I've talked to, include especially the senators, and I talked to Schatz today. They've all expressed the same disappointment. They're like, look, he was in the Senate. Why is he basically removing us from this process? He was a senator not that long ago. Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what happens, even if there is a genuine normal process through Congress, USAID is not going to look like it did before the start of this. And maybe there's actually good reforms that will happen. That could totally be the case. But this was like the dumbest dystopia and the dumbest constitutional crisis to cause over USAID, right? And all over the fact that Elon just doesn't seem to like the organization. Which again, do the reforms. Go ahead and do them. Work with Congress. There are lawmakers, including Democrats, that would love to reform USAID. They would love to do it, but not this.
I think that's what's frustrating for a lot of people is like online the discourse is, well, look at what Elon has uncovered and isn't this horrible and why are we funding this stuff? And it's like, well, sure. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's putting the like objective spin on it, but like, sure, let's say that is true. You still can't just have one guy come in and be like, done. That's not how it works, nor is it how it should work. You have to have a process. There have to be laws. There have to be guardrails and accountability, and at least a little bit of transparency, right? Like just a modicum. That'd be nice. Anyways, we are where we are. Thank you for unpacking this, my man. I really appreciate it. We will have you back for sure because this is a lot of fun. Maybe you'll get a better studio next time. We'll see.
No, I'll only do it from here for now.
All right, Alex Ward of the Wall Street Journal. Folks, as always, do subscribe, click like, whatever. Thank you for tuning in, and we will talk soon.